It's the day before Christmas, and the US is heading into the second biggest COVID wave we've ever had, second only to the ginormous first Omicron wave. And I want to talk about what's going on across the US, what's going on across the world. And you may have heard of Pirola, the new variant we're seeing. Where does that word come from? It's actually kind of important what Pirola means. So here is a map of all of the wastewater sites where the CDC measures concentrations of COVID, compares how much COVID they're measuring in the wastewater now versus other times, and all of the orange and red across the whole country. That means the site is having significant increases in wastewater measurements compared to, weeks ago. So this is another way you can see COVID surging all over the country. But it's not just the US, this is French wastewater data, surging, higher than any recent peaks. This is Switzerland, already surpassing last winter's peak and still on the way up. Germany's got a ridiculous spike right now. I hope it doesn't get cut off, but Austria as well, spiking. Singapore having a record surge. And the World Health Organization has recommended universal masking in health facilities and protections for healthcare workers across the world. And it says that JN.1 is a variant of interest. So let's talk about JN.1, a Pirola variant. Now, Pirola is not an official designation. It's something that people that track variants came up with a name. And let's talk about why. So this paper called Antigenicity and Receptor Affinity of SARS-CoV-2 BA2.86 spike. So Pirola is BA2.86. So this paper is talking about how COVID mutates when it infects people and it replicates and makes more copies of itself. Sometimes it makes mistakes in those copies, and sometimes those mistakes hurt the virus and it dies out, and other times those random mistakes are actually really, really helpful and help evade our immune system or develop other kind of advantageous properties. And so the important thing in this chart, look on the left, we have WA1, alpha, beta. These were WA1 and alpha were kind of the original COVID from late 2019, early 2020. The beta wave was what I believe came into South Africa. That was the first variant where we went, oh shoot, it's mutating. Delta wave. So everything on the far left of the chart was around 2020, 2021. Then BA1, that's Omicron. And so Omicron was given a new Greek letter. We went from, alpha, beta, gamma, delta to Omicron because of the distance, how many mutations had happened. And then the recent variants we've had since 2022, BA1, BQ1, BA5, BA2, XBB, that's all in this territory. And if you look way on the right, you see BA2.86. And the point that I'm trying to make on this is look at these distances and how many mutations. So what I'm saying here, the number of mutations that Omicron had compared to the original strains was about 30 mutations on the spike protein. BA2.86 has the same number. It is as far away from Omicron as Omicron was from the original one. What's a better way of saying this? Some people are talking about the new COVID, and I think they actually are right unintentionally. I don't think know all this is going on, but the COVID around right now is just very different from the original strains. And so the reason people call 2.8.6 Pirola is because those are the next Greek letters after Omicron, Pi and Rho. So it's people's way of saying, hey, these official health agencies, this is a different virus, this is a different variant, we should be calling this Pi or Rho or Pirola. So anyway, that's where that name comes from, and I think it's important to understand just by letting COVID infect all of us and mutate all the time, people love to say it's just the flu. It is not really very similar to the flu at all, and what we're doing is letting COVID basically practice on us and our immune systems every single day. We're letting it replicate every single day, so it's just going to keep marching. We're going to keep getting variants, it's going to keep learning different immune tricks, it's going to keep getting potentially more contagious. All these things are random. No virus ever only gets more contagious or only gets more mild or only does anything. These are dynamic, random systems. Both there's random things happening and there's things like, we don't wear masks anymore, or we use rapid tests on day one when we feel bad, and then we assume if it was negative on day one, we're fine. That actually could lead COVID to ramp up its viral load a little slower because variants that get caught by the rapid test early on might get snuffed out. So anyway, all these things are going on in the background. We still don't really know what JN.1 is going to do. It's not even the primary driver of these waves yet. What's been driving these waves is called variant swarm, where we have many, many variants out there competing. Now, just in the past few days in the US, JN.1 is now taking over. So that's why this wave is going to be so bad. We're already at near record levels. Again, except for that one massive Omicron wave, we are in the US, we are near the peak of last winter, but we still have several weeks to go and several weeks of JN.1 being the dominant variant, which is very contagious. So yeah, this wave is going to be pretty bad. Again, none of this is fear-mongering. This is all just information. I want people to keep themselves safe, keep other people safe. If you feel sick right now, regardless of what's happening on that rapid test, do not get your family sick during Christmas, the people you love and care about. Don't get them sick. Wear a mask. Skip a Christmas gathering. I know it's really hard, especially if you traveled for it. It's just not worth it, though. COVID can give people long-term symptoms like long COVID in about 10 to 15% of infections. Or every time you get infected, there's about a 10 to 15% chance that you get long COVID. So don't subject someone else to potentially a long-term chronic illness. Try and avoid it yourself if you can. In your Christmas gatherings, crack a window, wear masks as much as possible, use air filters. If you're going to take a rapid test, don't eat or drink for 20 minutes. Swab your cheeks as far back in your throat as you can get, and then do each nostril down and back rather than up if you can. Both nostrils do the test. But yeah, stay safe out there. I'm sorry to be giving this depressing news the day before Christmas, but it is what it is.